Morning, guys. It's the next day. Welcome back. I got 4 hours of sleep, so I'm ready to go. I'm gonna take a little break from the Evo this morning, simply just because I'm tired, and tomorrow is Mother's Day, and I'm taking my girl out for that, and I want the car to be nice and clean. So we're actually gonna be taking the S2000 tomorrow for that. So let's go wash it, and in the meantime, I'm gonna grab myself an energy drink. Like I said, I'm exhausted. So yeah, Evo's all one color. It's almost there. Today we're gonna block sand it, and then after that we're gonna wet sand it. And then once it all dries up, we'll clean it again, wipe it down, and then we'll lay down primer again on the spots that are burnt through. But yeah, here's the S2000, guys. It's absolutely filthy. One thing that's new on it, I haven't shared with you guys yet, is the last set of wheels rubbed way too much for what I want to do with the car, and I want to race the car. I want to take it to the track, and with wheels rubbing, that, well, makes it basically useless. So I traded the work T5Rs I had on it for some SBC RPF ones. They're a 17 by 9.5 plus 38 offset, and they fit perfect. It really doesn't rub much. I gotta adjust the right rear, just because if you hit a dip in the road at like 75 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour, it does kind of hit a little bit. But other than that, it doesn't rub at all. Super stoked with how those look and how those came out. This is really starting to shape like my dream build would be for an S2000. So I'm really excited. But as you can tell, I drove it in the rain the other day, and it is absolutely filthy. So let's go wash it. All right, now the S2000 is nice and clean. I'll wipe it down later. We just got a lot to do in the garage, so I'm not really super concerned if there's a few water spots on it. But man, that color in the sun, it is, wow. You know, not a day goes by that I regret painting the car this color. It's absolutely one of my favorite colors, and it looks so good. So yeah, we got the SBC RPF ones. They fit great. We got the big wing on. The car's basically complete. I'm talking to a guy about getting some Voltex canards. He's here local, but he told me 2 days ago, and he said yesterday, and I haven't heard from him. So if we get them, we get them. And then once those Voltex canards go on, we're gonna make our own front splitter, and then basically the exterior of the car will be complete at that point. So I love this car. It's absolutely one of my favorite cars to drive. Update on the STI, there's no update. Lower control arm is bad. We got to order a new one, but I need to get the wheels refinished for it first, so I can take these wheels off and put them on the Evo when the Evo's done. And then I got to fix that lower control arm so we can start driving this thing again. But yeah, basically it's just been sitting here. But let's go ahead and get back started on the Evo. First things first, we're going to start sanding it with some 400 grit, and then from there we're going to wipe it down, and then we're going to go move up to 600 grit wet. And that, once that's done, we're going to wipe it down again, clean it off, and then we're going to move to laying down some more primer on the burn throughs. And once that's done, we're basically ready for paint. All right, so first things first, if you haven't used this stuff in the past, I recommend it. It's called a guide coat. They sell many different versions of it. You can get it in like a powder form. You can get it in a can. They sell this stuff at Walmart. That's just where I pick it up. So one thing I want to do with this one is with the S2000, I kind of regret not doing this process because there's a lot of waviness that I just didn't expected there to be. So unfortunately, the S2000's bodywork is not quite to where I'd be happy with. So that's why we're going to do this with the Evo, to make sure we don't have any waves, to make sure we don't have any high or low spots that we miss. So basically the way you do it is you just grab on to your can, shake it up, and just lay it down. This stuff dries super quick. You don't need to get fully cover it. All you need to do is just get a light coating all over it. And what this stuff will do is it'll show you your high and low spots. So while you're sanding, it's gonna show you where some more body work will need to be done. And yeah, basically it'll just help you make sure you get everything nice and straight. So we're just gonna lay this on all over. And typically you only wanna do this on any spots that you've done body work on already. But again, I want this car to come out as good as possible. So I'm basically gonna be going about it, I guess, in a over-exaggerated way. You don't necessarily need to do all this, just because, again, it's just gonna take you forever to sand through all this stuff, and you can't really lay paint on top of this stuff. So I'm just being a little extra, I guess, with it. But again, I want this one to come out good. That's the one thing I regret with the S2000, is I could have taken a couple extra steps to really ensure that that paint job would have come out good. And the paint job itself came out fine. It's just my body work was not what I was hoping it to be. But you know, it's okay. It's a learning experience. That car is meant to get trashed on. It's meant to get, you know, beat up. I'm not expecting the paint job on the S2000 to be like a show quality, award-winning paint job. And you know, as much as I want it to be on this car, I'm also not expecting it on this car either. Just because, again, I'm a rookie. So I'm learning, and as I'm learning, I'm making mistakes. And well, I'm just hoping to eventually get to the point where I can put out a really quality paint job. But I am starting to feel my limitations as I'm going about it. Like, definitely need to invest in a nicer spray gun. Definitely need to invest in a bigger air compressor. And ideally, a booth would be really nice. I know if I had a booth and had everything prepped before I went in the booth, I know it could really come out really good. So, but this is how we learn, right? Again, I'm going a little over-exaggerated with the guide coat, but we have all day. We're gonna be here all day blocking this car, making sure we don't have any low spots, and any low spots that we do have, we're gonna fix, and we're gonna essentially get this car straight all the way. But yeah, that's guide coat. That's how you use it. Once this is done drying, it dries super quick too. We'll basically grab our 400 on DA, and we're gonna buzz through most of it. And then any spots that are like a low spot, we're gonna leave those, and then we're gonna block them. And then I'll show you guys how to block sand at that point. Low in the guide coat, so I resorted to just putting it anywhere where we did body filler. But we got the entire passenger side of the car, put it on only the bodywork areas on the bumper that we did. The entire car on this side is covered. Where we filled the holes back here is where I placed some as well. And then I got majority of the driver's side as well. I know that there's been some body work on this side in the past, so I just want to make sure I get it all right. Got some on the side skirt where we fixed it, because that side skirt was cracked and split almost dang near in half. The one I'm the most nervous about is this hood. When I first got this hood, it was all primered, and it's a carbon hood. So I thought I could restore it, sanded all the primer off, found that big burn spot right here. So I made sure to put a little bit more guide coat on this side, just because I want to make sure this hood comes out as good as possible. And well, it was I think $250 hood. I paid for it. So yeah, that's why I ended up patching that side and then running it as just a carbon hood, and it looked honestly not good at all. Like, it only looked good from maybe like 5 feet away. So we eventually, when the car got wrapped, we just left the vents exposed, and that's kind of the same style we're going about it this way. It's just leaving the vents exposed. But basically from here, just because it's going to take forever to just block all this, we're going to start off with 400 grit on an interface pad on the DA, just to burn through most of this as much as we can. And then any low spots that we find, that's when we're going to hit it with the block and get those nice and even with the rest of the body. But yeah, essentially that's guide coat. That's how I've been using it. I'm sure that there's going to be other people that say, you know, there's this step and that step. And here's the thing, when it comes to painting cars, it's like cooking. It's the best way I can explain it, right? There's so many ways of doing it, and there's so many right ways of doing it. There's so many people that say, oh, I do it this way, I get great results, etc. And other people say, oh, but you're doing it wrong, I do it this way, right? Everybody has their own way of doing it. Now, don't get me wrong, there are many ways to do it wrong, and I hope I'm not one of those. But regardless, you're gonna get, if you're looking to paint cars, you're gonna get so much advice from so many people about what they do, and just always take it with a grain of salt. You know, some people may be doing it for 15, 20 years and they have their way, and somebody else may say it's wrong. So that's the fun part about painting. You just kind of find your own niche and your own way of doing it, and if it works for you, it works, right? So that's kind of where we're at, and this is kind of what's been working for me. So anyway, let's go ahead and start sanding. All right, guys, this has been quite the project. It's been on and off for like the last 3 days, just trying to get stuff done. I didn't get to where I wanted to get to by the end of the weekend. Mother's Day kind of, you know, took precedence over this project, but nonetheless, the EVO is entirely blocked down and sanded. We're actually getting ready to lay down our first coat of sealer. Yeah, I just got done wiping it all down with some IPA. We're just gonna, there was a lot more burn through than I thought there was gonna be. I only did one coat of filler primer, so not really surprised. And you know, I didn't want to spend the entire, like, I don't know, day I had just block sanding, so I just went at it with a DA, and well, we got more burn through than I was expecting. Kind of looks cool, kind of like, you know, that little trendy like anime car thing that everybody's doing, but we're not gonna do that. So I'm just waiting for the alcohol to dry off. I'm gonna start mixing up some primer. So I don't know how well this is gonna work. I've talked to a few buddies of mine. They say that there's no reason it shouldn't, but essentially we're gonna use, so the filler primer I have on the tech sheet it comes with, it says you can reduce it, I believe, up to 25%. I'll have to look at it and double check. So from what I've known with filler primer is if you reduce it is if you're gonna use it as a sealer, but I don't know how well it's gonna work. Basically everything I read up online says if your filler primer can be reduced as a sealer, it's not gonna be a good filler primer and it's not gonna be a good sealer. But we're kind of at a strap for time, and also we're running super low on finances because this is taking more than I was expecting it to. So we're just gonna go with it. Ideally what we want is coverage, because the problem with, if we were to just shoot base coat on this now, is if we had a paint that covered very well, say we were doing black, wouldn't be a problem, right? But the problem is for example, see right here, this white spot on the bumper compared to this black spot compared to the gray. The color, I would have to do like 5 coats for it to even look somewhat similar. If I held a light over it, you'd see a slight shade of a difference. So I don't want that. Again, that's the issue I had on the S2000. There's a few areas where on the fender, I had a big burn through spot that I didn't think to cover up. And well, now it bugs me. So the goal on this one is we're gonna make it all one color. We're gonna reduce down the primer so it lays down super, super thin and smooth. So that way we don't have to sand it anymore. And then from there, depending on how it lays out, if it lays out still a little bit too thick, I'm gonna pick up some 800 grit sandpaper and we're gonna wet sand this thing down. And if we wet sand it down with 800 grit, then it should be basically ready to go. And if I shouldn't have too much burn through. The only reason this burned through a lot is because I was sanding down with 400 grit. So it was a little bit too coarse, but the whole entire car is baby smooth right now, which is perfect. So ideally, if we can reduce down this primer into a sealer, then we should be able to keep that smooth feeling and then just lay paint over it. But if it lays down too thick still, then we're gonna have to wet sand it tomorrow, and then I'll pick up a couple cans of just sealer primer. I think I actually might even have some too, and just cover up those spots with just a can. But essentially that's the goal. Once it's all one color, unfortunately we're gonna have to wait till morning to let it dry, because then I have to come through, and for example, this center section of the bumper has to be black, so I have to tape that off. And then also on the fenders, I've seen a lot of people with the charge speed fenders, they just paint the whole thing. But one thing I did when I had it wrapped is I actually had the inserts here wrapped in carbon. And well, we're not gonna do that, but I did like the contrast between the orange that it was and that carbon, so we're actually going to paint those black as well. But I can't paint those black until the sealer is fully dry and cured, because if I lay tape over it, I'm going to be worried that I'm going to pull the tape off and it's going to peel the primer off, and then if that happens, that's going to delay us. So the central goal is we're going to we're going to lay down sealer. We're going to give it until tomorrow, and then tomorrow I'll go ahead and tape off the bumper and the fender flares and the front fenders as well, so that way I can lay down the black paint on those. I'm trying to think of anywhere else I need to lay black paint on, but so far those are really the only ones I can think of. But once that's done, we'll go ahead and wait another day. So Wednesday, here's the ideal goal. Wednesday is when we'll be able to lay down actual base coat on the entire car. Additionally, I ordered some of this stuff because I want to add some of this stuff to the clear coat. I want to make it look a little different, I guess. But I ordered the wrong one. So the reason we're waiting till Wednesday is because the right one should be here. So I ordered some metallic gold flake. This is the 0.025, so it's a little bit too coarse for my liking. So I ordered some smaller one that should be here Wednesday. So as long as we can have everything ready Wednesday night, we'll be able to lay down base and we'll be able to lay down clear all in the same night. And then at that point, Thursday we'll be able to start reassembly. So yeah, that's the goal for Wednesday night, and then Thursday we'll start reassembly, which will leave us for Friday. I need to get the STI fixed. So Friday, I'll have the wheels repolished, tires put, no, can't put tires on for another day. Wheels repolished, rebuilt. I'll have that lower control arm that's busted replaced, and then Saturday I'll have the tires mounted and the wheels back on the STI and the EVO's wheels back on the EVO. EVO fully reassembled and everything. Both cars should be ready ideally by Saturday night, which would then, the show's on Sunday. So we're getting there. But yeah, regardless, we're gonna go ahead and mix up some primer, and I'm gonna lay down some sealer, and I think that's gonna cut it for today. And just like that, the car is all one color yet again. It worked. It laid down super wet. As you can see, there's like a nice sheen to it, and it's really smooth. I made one mistake though. I painted with the garage door open, thinking like, oh, it's raining outside, it's gonna help it. Yeah, no, apparently with it being nighttime and my bright garage lights, it meant letting a lot of bugs in. So you can see, yeah, we got a bunch of bugs in the sealer, which not a big deal. Like, we'll just sand it down. It's, not the end of the world, but oh well. We're gonna cut it here, guys. Again, the sealer has to dry. The next step is gonna be taping this bumper outline off and then painting this black. But we're gonna wait till tomorrow for this to be all nice and dry, so that way we can just sand down any of these little bugs that got in it. I got a couple runs in it too that I'm not super proud of. There's one right there, and then one on this fender. You can't really see it, but it's like up right here. So again, we're gonna wait for all this to dry out, and we're gonna hit it with its final sanding tomorrow. We're gonna paint the black parts black, and then from there, we're just waiting on that gold pearl to come, that gold flake to come in, and Wednesday we're gonna lay down some base coat. But yeah, honestly, super stoked with the progress we've made. The car is basically ready to go at this point. We're just, again, I gotta take care of some of these bugs that fell in it, and a couple runs, and then we'll paint the black part of the bumper, and then same with on the fenders. I hope I have enough black base coat for that. I have like half a pint left, but it covers really well, so I should have enough, and there's not a whole lot that needs to be painted black anyway, so we should be good. But anyway, I appreciate you guys for coming along, and yeah, like, comment, let me know what you think. Again, I'm not a professional by any means. I'm kind of just a dude in the garage, just kind of messing around and making the best of it, to be completely honest. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Share with your friends, and make sure to subscribe too. It's really helping me out. I've been noticing there's been a lot of new subscribers lately, and I really appreciate you guys. So the goal is, again, to share this with everybody. So yeah, we'll go ahead and end it here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And hopefully in the next video, we'll be actually laying down some actual paint. So see you guys there.